Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 1, Episode 12. It's really just the lack of accountability for me. Seeing a grown woman at almost 50 years old act the way she did in last night's episode, I was too through. I was like, I am just so ready for their reunion because I really hope that Andy digs in a certain person's behind because the actions are just like, this can't be real. There's no way you're acting like this when the cameras are turned off. But again, I digress. Let's just jump on into it. We start off the episode with Whitney going into Heather's room. All the ladies are getting ready for dinner, and Whitney and Heather just have a cute little chat beforehand. Whitney is telling her all about race car driving, and Heather's excited to hear about it because remember, Heather didn't get to go because Jen forced her into going to this surprise, and it was a whole little shopping experience with personal shoppers that Jen didn't even pay for, but that's a whole nother story because how are you surprising me with a gift and then I have to pay for my own gift? Make it make sense, but again, I digress. So Whitney is telling Heather all about the day, and she says, I was so good out there. I outlapped Lisa like 2 times because Lisa was driving like a school bus driver, okay? Like she was literally going like 30 miles an hour. So then Whitney is like, and by the way, I apologized to both of them and I accepted responsibility for my actions and I took accountability. Heather's like, that's great. Whitney says that she's happy to be on the same page with Meredith and Lisa and that she's optimistic for their dinner. So then Heather is like, okay, girl, well, before we go on to dinner, let me just tell you the day that I had with Jen. So she says that we're laughing and trying on shoes and dresses, having a good old time. But then Jen has a complete outburst regarding you. So Whitney is kind of confused, like, wait, what? Like, I thought that was all done and over with, like, we kissed and made up. She said she forgave me in the hot tub. Like, what are you talking about? So Heather's just like, girl, I know. So you can tell that Whitney is annoyed hearing this mess. And so she says, it's been the complete opposite to my face because Jen has been really buddy-buddy and so sweet to me. So to hear this, it's like, well, Jen is very two-faced. And yes, that is very two-faced behavior to sit up here and be like, you know, you're pissed off at this person. But then when you're getting it in front of their face, now you're all lovey-dovey and you're just so sweet to them. So Whitney's kind of confused, like, girl, which one is it? So then we flash on over to see Lisa and Meredith already at dinner, and they are waiting for Jen, Whitney, and Heather to come. So they order a drink. I think they ordered some drink called the Porn Star, and it looks so good. I was like, ooh, like I want to get that, but I digress. So they're laughing and talking about the day and how Lisa is so delusional. She's talking about how she killed it on the racetrack, and Meredith is like, no, because we all saw Lisa was on that racetrack looking a slow fool. I said, it's a lot of delusional people on this cast, but again, I digress. So they're just laughing and joking about that. Then Jen comes down and joins them. And she has on her J-Lo-esque Versace suit. And so she sits on down and already things go left. The conversation then turns to Whitney. Lisa and Meredith are like, you know what? We're cool with Whitney. She apologized to us on the racetrack. It's fine, clean slate. I believe that her apology was sincere. So, of course, Jen just can't be happy with what they're telling her. She turns to Lisa and is like, how are you good with Whitney when she threw you under the bus? And Lisa's like, Jen, Whitney apologized for the last time about her actions. Leave it alone. Like, girl, just stop doing the most. So then we see Jen saying in her confessional that she accepted Whitney's apology, but she's still mad and she still really didn't accept it. Girl, you either accepted and forgave or you did not. And it sounds like you did not forgive her. Or you're only doing this for a storyline. So then Jen starts talking about how they've been on Mary and Whitney's side. So Meredith is getting pissed off. And of course, we all know Meredith isn't any sort of confrontational person. So she's like, you know what? I'm leaving. I'm disengaging. I just can't. So then we find out from Meredith that the reason why she really just hates conflict is because when she was a little girl, she witnessed a lot of confrontation and fighting from her parents. And we all know that her parents got divorced. And so she was put in the middle of the both of them. And it seemed like somebody was always mad at her. So as an adult, it's very triggering when she sees a lot of confrontation and yelling, and also seeing Jen's behavior, it just really like brings up a panic in her. So Meredith just leaves, she's over it. I said the way I would have told Jen to get the F out of my face and I would have ordered my dinner. So now Jen is angry that Meredith left. Lisa's still trying to talk her off the ledge like, girl, calm down, like stop all this. So now we see Heather and Whitney come and they are like embroiled in chaos. They had no idea it was going to be a complete shit show when they walked in the door. Jen starts hollering in Heather and Whitney's face off rip. So then we see Jen has her bodyguard Henry with her. And so Henry like kind of breaks it up because remember, Jen had gotten in Whitney and Heather's face. So he breaks it up and then she leaves. And then Lisa runs behind her and is trying to diffuse the situation. She's like, Jen, I'm here for you. Like, what is going on? Jen's not making any type of sense whatsoever. She's crying and sobbing, talking about how she wants to leave. She's just so angry. Lisa's like, girl, I'm here with you. I'm here for you. I just want you to calm down. Let's try to work this out. Let's try to talk it out. And Jen's just not hearing any type of reasoning. So when Jen goes back up to her room, we hear her on the phone with Sharif, and she's screaming and yelling and sobbing, and she's just unraveling at the seams. In all seriousness, this is no shade. Jen needs to get on somebody's couch immediately. It is clear, painfully obvious that she is still distraught and still hurt by her father's death and the fact that Sharif did not attend the funeral. And she's also severely hurt at Sharif's absence. Jen doesn't need to be around these ladies, and I don't think she needs to be on this show. I think that she needs to be working and sorting through her issues and then maybe come back for season 3, because this isn't even fun to watch at all. Like, this isn't just a little meltdown or a little outburst. This is every single episode she's wailing and carrying on like a loon. And it's uncomfortable to watch. It made me uneasy. Like, it was past the point of me just being annoyed. It was just kind of like, there's something not right. So now we flash on over to see Whitney and Heather and Lisa still really shell-shocked by that whole entire scene that Jen made. So Lisa says to them, Whitney, Jen is still mad at you over what happened at Sharif's party. Whitney is pissed. She's like, that's absolute BS. We cleared everything. She accepted my apology. Like, this makes no sense. So now Whitney gets in her petty bag and she's like, well, if we're keeping it a stack, Jen was talking about you guys, and she was talking about Meredith's marriage and letting me know what was going on, how Meredith was seeing other people. So now Lisa's like, excuse me. Lisa's getting really angry. Like, that's my best friend. Are you joking right now? So then we see all four of the ladies go back to Whitney's room, and they are just talking about what went down. Meredith is like, well, since my marriage and separation seems to be on everybody's lips, let me just clear everything up for you guys. Yes, me and Seth were separated for quite some time, and yes, I was seeing other men while we were separated. So now Lisa is in her confessional like, I feel really hurt right now because it's like, me and Meredith are best friends, like that's my sister, and I'm just finding this out now that she was seeing other people, like, wow, I should have known this info first. So then Lisa is like, I'm hurt, confused, and annoyed, and I no longer want to be friends with Jen. That's completely understandable because I would not want to be friends with Jen any longer either. The way she treats people is absolutely awful. And like I said in last week's recap, Jen doesn't really want friends. She wants fans and she wants yes men. And it's not lost on me how she has a lot of friends on payroll. All of her assistants who she's very friendly with, and they seem to tell her everything that she wants to hear. Of course, they're never going to disagree with her or tell her the truth because they want that money to keep coming in. They want the perks and all the benefits that come with being around her. So Heather says that she doesn't cut people off, even though Jen is very toxic and has a lot of awful behaviors. She still doesn't want to cut her off. That's just not the type of girl she is. She is a ride or die friend, and she believes in sticking with her friends through thick and thin. Now, let me tell you something. There's a difference between being loyal and there's a difference between being stupid and a doormat. Heather, you're falling into that doormat category. I'm all for being a great friend and sticking with people and loving people, but not at your detriment. Somebody's cursing in your face, saying really awful, nasty things about you and you don't agree with them, or you're trying to tell them the truth about themselves and you don't want to cut them off. Jen would have been cut off months ago. There's no way you're about to call me out of my name, have all these crazy outbursts, and expect me to still want to be friends with you. Absolutely not. It shows a lack of respect for yourself, and it also shows that you don't have any backbone. To put up with piss poor treatment, that's unacceptable. You might not want to cut her off. You might be able to still see the good in her, but it's also okay to acknowledge this person, while they do have a few cool qualities, this friendship has become very toxic to me, and it's just not beneficial. Love her from a distance and say, you know what, Jen, I just can't do this anymore. There's nothing wrong with that. The way my self-esteem and the way my pride is set up, I'm just not about to stay anywhere where I'm not wanted or fully celebrated. The friends that I have now, they really celebrate me and they really love me. I can't go back to being with friends who tolerated me or could take me or leave me. I can't do that. I won't tolerate crumbs in any relationship. I'm not doing that. And this friendship that Heather and Jen have going on is very one-sided. Heather has to walk on eggshells with Jen. That's not the way it should be. I'll be damned if I'm walking on eggshells with anybody. I'm not doing that. I'm not kissing anybody's ass. I'm not walking on eggshells. I'm not about to be tiptoeing around you or telling you everything that you want to hear. And I damn sure I'm not going to allow anybody to hurt me or belittle me or make me feel like 2 cents. Absolutely not. I love and value myself too much for that. And Heather, you need to get to that place where you love and value yourself that much too, where you're not going to accept piss poor treatment from anybody. So then we see in the next scene, Mary. Mary is back in SLC because you guys already know she declined the trip. She was like, nope, if Jen is going to be there, count me out. So Lisa FaceTimes Mary, and so Lisa is like, Mary, girl, you did the right thing not coming on this trip. This trip has been awful. Jen had another outburst yet again. And so Mary's like, wow, like, this is crazy. Like, I'm really happy I'm not there. And Mary's like, she's crazy. Like, she is crazy. And I said, you know what's so funny? Mary was slated to be the villain on this show. And Jen was supposed to be the favorite. And it's just so funny how things work. Jen is now the villain and the most hated on this cast. And while Mary isn't the favorite, Mary is seen as one of the normal ones. I said, it's just so funny how that works. It is just so funny how that works. But I digress. So Lisa just says, Mary, I miss you a lot. Really wish you were here, but you did the right thing by declining. And then they hang up the phone. So now we see Heather, and she is on her way to Jen's room because Jen had texted her the night before and said that she was leaving. She was going back to SLC. She was just so angry at all the ladies, and she had instructed Heather to pick up some of her clothes that she had left in her room. Heather's better than me because after you cursed in my face, I would have just let your clothes sit there and let the housekeeper steal them. Heather goes into Jen's room and Heather is like, Jen? Like, what are you still doing here? Jen's getting made up. Her hair is being done by her hairstylist and her assistant is there. And so Jen is like, yeah, I was talking to my staff and they were just like, Jen, just calm down, sleep it off, and just stay for the remainder of the trip. I just want to know, how much is her staff being paid to put up with her outbursts? I'm just dying to know. Like, I really hope that her staff are all being paid handsomely to deal with her. Like, I really hope that they're being paid at least 6 figures. But something tells me that they're all getting paid pennies on the dollar. But I digress. So Jen says, I love this friend group, but I just need for everybody to own up to what they do and what they say. Heather is looking like, is this a joke? Like, am I in the Twilight Zone right now? Like, is this woman really saying this? Is this really coming out of her mouth? So then Jen says she's still mad at Whitney for lying, and she can't move forward because of Whitney's lies. So this is where I had to applaud Heather for finally opening her mouth and not letting Jen get away with her nonsense. Heather was like, your behavior was unacceptable last night. You were nasty, you were violent, you were out of control, and you were just aggressive for no reason. So Jen, being the delusional person that she is, has the gall to say, I just don't understand why nobody can own up to their stuff. So Heather just tells her flat out, you were effed up last night, period, point blank. You need to own up for your stuff and just cut the BS because I'm just tired of it. So then we see in the next scene, Whitney, Lisa, and Meredith are at the hypnotist house. So Whitney lets us know that she found the hypnotist by reading the hypnotist book. And so she is just so excited. The hypnotist greets them. She asks if they've ever even done this before. And the ladies are like, no. And so they sit down and they are ready to have a nice session. Heather and Jen arrive a few minutes later. And so Meredith is like, the minute Jen walks into the room, the energy automatically shifts. Isn't that just such an awful feeling to know that when you walk into a room, other people tense up, other people want to leave, and other people are just annoyed by your mere presence? Like, that's very sad. Again, I digress. So now the hypnotist wants them all to start talking and hashing out their issues. Jen immediately plays the role of the victim, and she's sobbing and upset and asking Meredith, why did you walk away last night? Why did you walk away? And Meredith is like, Jen does not live in reality whatsoever. So in the midst of Jen and all of her histrionics, Heather interjects, and then Lisa interjects, and then the whole party situation gets brought back up again. So Lisa and Jen are kind of getting into it. Jen goes on this soliloquy about how she's a loyal friend and all she wants is reciprocity. I said, it's just so sad to live in an alternate reality where you are just so far up your own ass that you refuse to see where you've done wrong in a situation. This is all Jen's doing. All Jen's doing. Whitney, for the last time, should not have brought that information to her at Sharif's party, but for Jen to blame her marital issues on Whitney and all of her life's problems on Whitney, that's absolutely unacceptable. So now we see the disengager herself, Miss Meredith. And honey, Miss Meredith had a little pep in her step today because she was bringing it. She said, you know, I find it really funny that you talk about loyalty when I heard around the grapevine that you've been the one spreading my marital issues to everybody around town. So then Meredith is just so angry. She just flat out asks Jen, were you or were you not going around town spreading stuff about my marriage? Yes or no? Answer the question. So Jen lies and says, no, I haven't. I would never do that. We saw you in episode 5, Jen. You went around and told Whitney at Whitney's house that Meredith was with another man when you guys were in New York for her trunk show. Cut it out. So then Whitney pipes up and says, Jen, you're a liar. You absolutely did go around saying what was going on between Meredith and Seth. So now Jen is just hemming and hawing. She finally apologizes to Meredith, but her apology is pretty weak, and the hypnotist interrupts her several times to just say, I'm sorry. Because, you know, she was doing all that, well, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry if you fell. And the hypnotist was like, no, no, no. Those are not real apologies. Just say, I'm sorry. So finally, Jen says, I'm sorry. I said, wow, it only took you about 83 tries to get that out. So we end the episode with them all playing a trust game. The hypnotist has them all raise their hands at who they do not trust in this group. So the hypnotist calls out Meredith and Lisa's name. Nobody raises their hands. They call out Whitney's name. Nobody raises their hands. Then they call out Jen's name, and all of the ladies raise their hands and say that they do not trust Jen whatsoever. So of course, Jen is hurt, shocked, and confused because how dare they say that they don't trust her? She's just been such a wonderful friend. So now the hypnotist asks everybody, do you all trust Heather? And nobody raises their hand except for Jen. Heather is pissed. She's like, are you effing kidding me right now? I have never betrayed Jen whatsoever. I have been so loyal to her. So Heather tells Jen flat out, you are a shitty friend. How dare you? Jen then says that she feels justified for her awful reaction last night because she's going through a lot of things. She's going through things in her marriage and in her life, and she feels that she has the right to act the way she does. All seriousness, is giving unstable, it's giving unhinged, and it's giving that you might need to take a sabbatical off of this show ASAP. Because it's a sad day, like I said before, when Mary is looking like the normal one, and you're out here looking like a true fool. But y'all, let me know what you all thought of this episode. I'm sure it's going to be a field day in the comments. But again, thank you all for watching my recap. You already know what to do. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.